Hello, welcome. We got quite a set for you with the Kingslayers versus the Sunbreakers in the Divine Division. My name is Jeffrey, I'm finally back, and with me here is our little Prince Fisher.
Yeah, you're finally back. Excited to be back with you for, I think, your first cast of the season, so I'm expecting really big things, really big play calls.
My first cast indeed. The EU time zone has got it rough from time to time, but we are here now, and what a set to bring it home with. Kingslayers versus the Sunbreakers. We got some familiar names on here from previous seasons and some newer names. So tell me, Fish, what do you think about this matchup?
Already, just looking at the two rosters, it's two very competitive teams. I mean, names on both sides we know from, of course, the league. We know both the solo laners virtually been here for a long time. Ragemore, now out of the solo lane. I'm going to miss all the Neja and Sylvanas solos, I'm not going to lie. Kind of sad seeing them in the carry role, but I'm sure they're going to do just fine anyway.
Well, the Sylvanas and the Naja in the solo, in the carry role, I sure hope not. He did always hit it up in the solo, I must admit that. So I am looking forward to what he can bring to us today in the ADC role. Of course, has been playing that this season, I do believe, for the so far. So let's see what he can cook up in the kitchen for today. As we see the first few bans coming out, Freya Susanoo and Ravana Baba Yaga. Pretty standard bans so far.
Very much so, although this fifth one doesn't really fit the bill. Izanami ban, I'm guessing that might be a target ban onto Ragemore. Izanami doesn't really stick out in my mind, at least, as one to kind of, oh, you have to ban this god in the top 6, or it's game over. So hopefully it's a target ban onto Ragemore. Sunbreakers certainly going in with the game plan here.
With a game plan indeed, and it's always good to do your homework beforehand. I do also think Izanami is a strong pick, maybe not first ban phase worthy, but hey, if you think it's strong and you know the other ADC likes it, there's no point in not banning it, right? But yeah, seeing the Fall being banned out last year, that's a flex pick for jungle and solo, of course. Pretty good ban. As the Martikara stays open, that's someone we see banned out a lot as well, being first pick here for the Sunbreakers.
Not gonna lie, I like Kingslayers leaving open the Martikaras instead of something like the Ravana or the Thor. Marty's certainly a strong pick, but we've seen those assassins just dominate this league so far. So if you have to let one through, it's probably good at some Martikaras, and good job on the Sunbreakers, not kind of counting themselves out with that ban, knowing, hey, we want to go this first pick. And Ganesha answered. That's a solid front line there from the Kingslayers.
That's Ganesha and Tyr being locked in. One god, I should say, that I still see being open is Jormungandr, who is, at least in the EU meta, I don't know about NA, but one of the best solo laners in the game right now, and especially against Tyr, a very hard counter. So I would not be surprised if the Sunbreakers pick it up here. Looking at the Kuzenbo instead, also one of the strongest supports right now, so I am not hating it at all. But what do you think about this Ganesha and this Tyr, if they do decide to go for the Jormungandr?
I think Jormungandr would be a great pick into it. Obviously, you really don't get displaced by anything other than a stun. That's not really something either of these characters have. I guess Tyr does have it on the ultimate now, but you're not going to be wanting to ult the enemy solo laner. It's not really what you do, but they're not going to go for the Jormungandr. They take a Kuzenbo and an Achilles. It's not the Jorm, but those are still two very, very good frontliners.
Yeah, the Achilles would be my second pick personally. I mean, I love executes right now with how tanky everyone is. So, well, you will never say no to that. As Acne being locked in here as the last god of the first picking phase, I love our friendly fire god. Great poke. I mean, you got 3 ultimates on cooldown. Like, what are you gonna do against it?
Constant damage is certainly something you want in a mage, and Agni does that better than just about anyone else. And I think one thing all the C2s love to talk about is objective play, objective secure, having those fire bombs. You have some big damage ultimates you can kind of drop on a Fire Giant, on a Gold Fury, on a backline, and it's really going to secure the kill on pretty much any of them. A really versatile mage and one that should fit well into this lineup. It's got a lot of setup for him.
And I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to you about it yet, but we got some mind games over here. Marticarus, of course, being a god that's being played a lot in mid, but also in ADC. And we do see the Kingslayers still banning out a mage for the mid lane with Morgan Le Fay here. What do you think? Is this Marty going mid, or is it going to be a more ADC type pick?
I'd certainly expect it in the mid lane. Like you said, Marticarus is an ADC, can certainly still be played in the duo lane, but really has a chance to shine there in the middle of the map. Maybe it's just a precautionary thing. Darknms does have a very good Morgan Le Fay, and Sunbreakers could certainly adapt on the fly and slide that over. We've talked about ADCs a little bit in the ban phase and with the Marty, but the Medusa, not an ADC I was expecting.
Neither. I don't think I've seen a single Medusa all season so far in either casting or playing or any casuals even. So I don't know about the Snake Lady, but I am very excited to see if it is going to work, and maybe I will have to play it myself. If Ragemore can show us that it's very good, then hey, you never know. As the Oleron being the last pick here, and I like it a lot. The magical ADCs are having such a high rise right now. Like, they're getting better and better. And against this Medusa, well, yes, she has a dash, but it's going to be a very slow dash to get out of the ultimates from the Oleron.
It is, and I'll tell you what I like more than the Oleron. It's seeing that ESET pick. That is a staple of Virtualee's God pool there. I'd assume that's going to be an ESET jungle. You've seen who is it? Sino play those crazy junglers. Virtualee does all that as well. I'd be shocked if it was anything else, but they're going to have a rough time going into a tier. ESET, not the most mobile one in the world. Kind of same with Oleron and the Marticarus. This is a very, very late pick, but this Fenrir is going to find a ton of value into this comp.
Yeah, with Fenrir especially, I mean, you gotta be careful for the ESET. She can, of course, silence you out of the Brutalize, which is a bit rough, but she also doesn't have a CC immunity ult, so unless she has her beats up, you got a pretty free pick to pick her up in your own ultimate with the Ragnarok. So I don't hate the Fenrir pick here, but yeah, let's get into the game, Fish. Well, I hope you all enjoy those cinematics. I sure do, as the buffs have spawned. So we see the ESET jungle, like you were predicting here, doing the speed buff to start off. Looking at these builds, is there anything you want to tell me as a chat too that's really particularly catching your eye? Sorry.
It's a little bit difficult to say in this particular matchup because when we look across the different roles, so many of them are just so different. Obviously, the War Flag been a starter that's really kind of picked up in popularity for supports, but you have a physical mid versus a magical mid. You got a mage versus an assassin in the jungle, magical, physical ADC. It's really difficult to kind of compare these builds head to head like that.
Well, I get your point there. As we see a little bit of a scrimmage here into the duo lane, we see more pressure from the Oleron and Kuzenbo. Like, at least I would expect, of course, Kuzenbo, but also the Oleron especially, bringing out so much pressure, practically insta-clearing the wave with his 2, getting 40% attack speed instantly. What do you think about the duo lane matchup?
I think at least in this early game, it should really favor Sunbreakers. I mean, it's Kuzenbo, by far and away the more aggressive support, probably one of the most aggressive. Like you said, Oleron with that early wave clear really can't be matched. As the game goes along, though, having a Fenrir ganking and having just a late game Medusa with build online, I'd say it's probably going to tend to shift towards Kingslayers.
Yeah, you gotta not look at her. If the Medusa does land the stun and people are like forget to look away, it can wreak havoc, and well, it can hit multiple people. Of course, it's AOE, so it's definitely a decent ultimate. And like we were saying before, no one is really playing Medusa anymore, so there is a chance that people forget how to play against her as well. Medusa going for the Bluestone start. It's one of the few hunters that really utilizes this start. What do you think about it?
I really like it. I think with her kit, it just makes sense as there's some sparring over the gold buff. Ooh, and it is going to be taken by Kingslayers.
Great confirm by the Medusa. I really thought IttsKatt was going to have that ball in the park there for the buff. It's not the end of the world, but great confirm, like I was saying before. As here into the solo lane, it's just two big buff men hitting each other, isn't it?
It's pretty much what we've come to expect from the solo lane. I really wouldn't go for anything different, especially those two is now virtually cut out of position.
Got out of position indeed, and lots of damage coming in. The Agni is coming over as well, and will confirm first blood for himself. Dragonlordcat getting the first kill of the game for Kingslayers. A little bit of a bad position there by Virtuality, and he will pay for it with his life.
Unlucky pathing there for the IttsKatt. We do see they do have some wards over there on the left side of the map, but none really deep enough to catch that rotate that was coming. Great job by the Agni stepping out of mid lane, and the Agni getting the kill too. That's like one of the two gods on this map that you do not want hitting level 5 first. This firebomb should be coming on before Martikris has the safety of that ultimate, so definitely look for DLC to get some pressure here on the next few waves.
Yeah, and one thing that caught my eye on that first spot is that the very deep ward that Kingslayers had there had to eat. It just disappeared off the map, but the caught IttsKatt completely on the map, so everyone knew exactly where she was when she was trying to hide around the corners. So great early ward placement there by the Kingslayers, giving them the first blood.
Good job indeed. Kingslayers out ahead, and when you look at that comp, especially both these, there's so many different aggressive picks on both sides of the team. I mean, the Martikris, the Kuzumbo, and the Achilles against like a tier, Fenrir, and Agni. There's really not one team you give the inherent advantage to in that early game. So the fact that Kingslayer is able to get out ahead of it should be good for them as now JunglePhobic trying to secure the gold.
Now NoboFish in a lot of trouble as Medusa ultimate's coming up, but oh, the field will save his life for now. The slow is too much and he will be able to just walk out. But great play still, you gotta admit, from JunglePhobic and Rachel there. Lots of pressure on to the Oloran, and at least you gotta send him back to base now soon. He will just clear this wave fairly safely, but I can't imagine that this Oloran is staying much longer as his potions are up as well. Now, in the mid lane, it is a 2v1 right now as the Fenrir is just walking away. Doesn't seem that they want to do too much with him, but maybe I was speaking too soon as now virtually is ganking Yagni, but will be able to just dash out fine for now. Juke trying to juke the wave clear from the IttsKatt a little bit there. Did manage to, I think, juke one of them, so hey, props on that. But no kill potential for either team as of right now.
Unfortunate miss there on the Spirit Ball from the IttsKatt. Might have been able to lock down that Agni, or at the very least force the beads and a dash away. And on the other side of the map, Kingslayers taking the beads down from that Oloran. That's a huge pick. Had to extend 2 ultimates for it, but now for the next 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, Fenrir can kind of show up there on left anytime they want and say, hey, you're dead now, and Nobo really can't do anything about it. I'd love to see Wyvern put a gank over there onto the left lane.
I must agree with you, especially with Oloran ult itself still being on half the cooldown left as well. Now would be the time, and if you want to get anyone behind on the map, it's probably is this Oloran, because Oloran late game is not something you want to deal with too much.
Not at all. I think pretty much any mage ADC, once they get to late game, is like, all right, we just kind of can't fight this until the full team's here. However, in virtually fighting over the Harpies, virtually does take it with a successful Spirit Ball and a Ganesh invading a blue buff. Don't know how many times I've seen that.
I don't think I've ever seen it, but I do love it. Ultimate is being used, but hey, those Dharmic pillars in the early game are usually not gonna cost the team fight too much, so I like getting the pressure, making your tier a little bit ahead. Yeah, I love it. I really like the play.
NoboFish now seeing Wyvern on the left side of the map, no ward there. Almost would have liked to see the Fenrir dive under the tower, but now Virtually's here, so gonna be pretty risky for Kingslayers to try anything. Fenrir, though, still sticking around, is cancelled back twice now.
Yeah, not making up his mind if he wants to back or not, but still deciding to stay, backing again, probably canceling it again. Yeah, did cancel it again, so hey, there we are. Now Medusa actually dashing in, but they've spotted the IttsKatt. Oloran ult was back up, but Fenrir doesn't get affected by it as he goes up into the Ragnarok himself, grabs virtually, but beats from the IttsKatt will get the IttsKatt out. And what is going on over here? I mean, ultimate's being used left and right. Rachel still has it up at least, and virtually, by the looks of it, didn't use it himself as well, as it is still up. But a little bit of a weird fight there, but with no casualties in the end.
I was really shocked that the Fenrir didn't go for it, but now the Ragemore in trouble. Medusa not going to land the stun. Good look away by Vert. And...
One basic.
Oh.
No, doesn't go for it. Ragemore will live to tell another tale some other day, as I thought they were dead there. So great plays to actually make it out alive there. A little bit unlucky. I think one basic might have done the trick. Must be eating yourself up now if you are virtually.
Both ADCs there probably should not have lived through that engagement, and now the support's just going to spar. Dharmic Pillars do not stop the back from the Ola run. And yeah, Ragemore barely escaping out of auto range. And in that fight, Fenrir chose to just burn the beads on the ESET instead of trying to go for the Ola run. Maybe could have locked down a kill, but Ola run beads are now back up. Could have been a close one, and now ESET going to be a little bit more vulnerable as Darknms tries to steal away the Harpies and does not get either.
So let's take a pause for a second here, Fisher. We see a 2000 XP difference, a 1300 gold difference. It's not that big of a lead yet, but we are only 8 minutes in. As firstly is ganking here, I will have to stop myself for a second, and he will fall down. Death from above is too much, as firstly will confirm the kill before his mid laner can say anything about it. But a great play there, and Dragonlordcat maybe caught out of position a little bit with not being spotted on the ward. I want to watch your lane a little bit more, buddy. Will pay with his life. So the Acne now 1 kill, but also 1 death. Same for the jungler from Sunbreakers.
You brought up the wards, and it's a really impressive spread there from the Sunbreakers around that mid lane. Looks like they've kind of made Agni the target for the next few minutes. Fenrir not able to strip anything away in the back of the map. But now, Sunbreakers just got a kill back. But looking at that gold chart growth we just saw, Kingslayers, it's been a very, very constant growth. They got their first blood at 3 minutes, and now virtually looking for the second blood.
Ragemore might be in a little bit of trouble. Did manage to dash out of the field, so no slow anymore there, but no. The ESET ult coming on top of it will be too much. Will confirm the kill as well with a lot of damage from NoboFish. So he did most of the kill over there. But hey, with his jungler there, the ADC will fall down. That's the second kill for the ESET, but this fight is not over yet as Dragonlordcat is actually rotating in. But I don't like this rotation too much. Dashes in onto NoboFish, does a lot of damage. Will get the kill before he falls down, but surely. Oh no, Spirit Ball misses. Basic attacks misses, but no. The stun not coming out in time, and virtually will get another kill. And this fight is still not over. It's right after Agni's death. Fenrir is showing up for this buff, jumping in, gets the stun, half HP on the east, and beats being forced, and the Brutalize will be enough to finish the trick. That's a very long, drawn-out fight, but it's a 2-for-2 in the end.
It was, and I was gonna really not like the play from DLC until it kept virtually long enough for Wyvern to show up and secure the kill. JunglePhobic just apparently does really like the jungle, taking the blue buff and the red buff. Ganesh has been all over the map. And yeah, Kingslayers do a great job clawing back a few kills there. Maybe a poor advised fight, but it goes their way, and now NoboFish in trouble under their tower.
Beats being expanded by the Ola run as he does secure his own buff, so that's something. With the Fenrir showing some face over here in the dual lane, I like it a lot. Like I said, beats being used by the Ola run, but in turn you do get the Ragnarok down for at least a minute and a little bit.
Absolutely, and you kind of had to use the beads there, even if it's just against a Fenrir. I don't think Medusa would have gotten over there at any time, but we've seen Wyvern with the kill onto the ESET certainly has the damage to put a member in the ground. Now does have that Brawler's Beat Stick online, and Ragemore might be cut out of position. Stanaway is over on the left side of the map, but with no support incoming from either team. Sunbreaker is going to think better of it.
Yeah, the double pen already online for the Fenrir. The Brutalize is absolutely shredding as of right now. Someone else who might feel that soon might be this Achilles, as at least the Ganesh looking around as well, but so is virtually looking for a blue buff in Fade. There's the Fenrir jumping in. Silence, so it can't silence the Brutalize, and the Brutalize will be enough. We just talked about it. It does so much damage, and ESET will hit the ground. Great silence by the Ganesh, making sure the Fenrir couldn't get silenced himself by the ESET.
Love seeing these coordinated plays coming out of Kingslayers, and a lot of ganks early as well. Been doing a very, very good job in that aspect. And it's funny that it was over in solo lane, because I was just about to comment. I don't think I've seen either of these solo laners drop under 80% HP. And even with solo laners just fighting like crazy, you normally see at least 1 or 2 close calls. They've been having an absolute vacation over there in the right lane.
Hey, we call it the Netflix lane for a reason, Fish. Nothing going on as of right now, but late game, in this meta, there are some of the most important characters. What is Ooh, hold on a second though, as the Brutalize does come through. Fenrir being pretty deep here on top of Virtually, but the silence will get him off of it. As we're fighting for the first beacon here, Medusa ultimate coming out, getting a stun onto Darknms, but nothing much more. As Dragonlordcat is actually dashing into the Overworld. Bit of a weird call there, as Deathhammer Buff being used, Ragnarok being used, and Ragnarok with Fenrir getting the first kill onto Phoenix here. Oh, big Fearless getting 3 of them. Absolute menace over here. And now it's a team wipe deicide for the Kingslayers. What a play was that? Nico, the MVP there with the most ginormous Fearless I've seen in a very long time.
You can't play a team fight much better than that. Beacon goes their way easily. Gold Fury going to be next up on the menu. And in this season now, where we have the beacons, every 12 minutes, it seems like it's the first time both of these teams are going to group up and fight. You can really kind of tell a lot about how those teams are feeling comfortable with their leads, just playing together. And for Kingslayers, that looked overwhelming. I mean, Sunbreakers, some members got there late. The Sanctified Fields didn't find anything. They miscued an Achilles ult. Beads, nothing by accident. I think a little bit of a panic Beads. It's not what you want to see from your team. Sunbreakers now, they're at a disadvantage, but it's not too far out of the way. They can certainly claw this one back, but they need to start getting some kills on the board.
Yeah, I think one of the problems here is that the ESET is 100% of your kills right now. Might be a little bit rough. So we see a very early Prickman build here by the Kuzenbo, as highlighted by the spectator. Yeah, Prickman working off your protections, only having the Gauntlet of Thebes built before it. It's a bit of an interesting choice. I would personally get it more like 3rd or 4th item. What do you say, Fisher?
I definitely agree with you, and we've seen in some games in the past few days, I think, this Pridwin being built like 2nd item, maybe 3rd sometimes. I also think it's too early, at least to get much use out of the passive. It does have a pretty nice stat stick. It has cooldown reduction, so from the stat side of it, you're certainly getting a lot of value building that 2nd, but now Wyvern looking over here into solo lane. Is this going to be the first time a solo laner falls?
Tyr already ulting in as well. Phoenix around half HP. Might be his 2nd death indeed, as now will relax under his tower. He is still a solo laner, and actually the cavalry is here to help out. Smith and support are coming over. Fenrir didn't seem to notice, has to run now. Gets stunned out. Kusumo ult, just off the mark, a little bit too late after the jump, so it will not find it. And now Nico just running back to his tower as well. These solo laners are pretty much unkillable. The only time I think in the short-term solution you see them die is in these big team fights around like a Pyromancer or the Beacon, like we saw the Achilles die before. But now in the mid lane, it's actually Dragonlordcat in a little bit of trouble. Spirit Ball did hit, but the silence was great from the Ganesh. Beats being expanded actually by the ESET. I am not sure if I would have beats for that personally, but hey, it happened. And now you're a big target for the next Ragnarok.
ESET, we already highlighted on the desk, not the most mobile mages, certainly need those beads up in order to survive. And all around the map, there's just kind of chaos fighting, everyone saying, hey, look, we can land abilities. Not too much coming out of it, but now Pyromancer are going to fall 15.5 minutes in for the Kingslayers. Second objective, and I think we've already talked about this season seeing objectives being taken way later on along with the beacons, like getting to 20 or 25 minutes before some teams start to go for those big Gold Furies, Pyromancers. I love seeing Kingslayers hitting these objectives early and maintaining that gold lead.
Indeed, and not only maintaining it, but also spreading it out, getting it bigger. But now, that being said, Raven might be in a little bit of trouble. Ragnarok, just too much of CC immunity. It gets your move speed as well, so the Fenrir just being able to waltz right out of there. But still, a good thing that they got rid of that Ragnarok. Makes your ESET, I'm so sorry, a little bit more safe for a bit longer period of time, as her beats are still down for 1.5 minutes. So yeah, no trouble over there.
Not at all, and the next beacon will be up in about another 2 minutes, and it feels like I'm always mentioning that a lot, just because that's where we see the team fights in this stage. And for Sunbreakers, they went into the last one in a 5v5 and did not fare very well. I'd love to see them make some kind of a pick here. We've already noted that the ESET is going to be very vulnerable, and seeing Virtually involved in all these kills, I'd like to see some of the other members step up and make something happen before there's a next big team fight. Ooh, good dodge there by Wyvern.
Good dodge indeed. Oh, And now NoboFish looked like he was in trouble, but actually with the fields, he turns it completely around and gets a solo kill onto Ragemore. NoboFish, great plays, getting the beats as well from the Medusa. I would have liked for the Medusa to actually start attacking as soon as she did press the beats. I mean, the ultimate from Ownerrun is not going to do much anymore at that point, so now you're just a sitting duck and dying for nothing. Bit of an unfortunate moment there for Ragemore. As now, virtually maybe in a little bit of trouble together with his support, so gets a lot of CC, a lot of help, and someone taking all the punches for him, so we'll be able to walk out for now. But it looked a bit scary there with 3 people from the Kingslayers running over as we're grouping up. So going back to a point I wanted to make a little bit ago, we just saw the graphs again, and we talked about it before when it was around like 1k difference. We already saw a 5k gold difference just a second ago. What do you do as the Sunbreakers? How do you stay calm and like try and get back into this game, Fish?
I think the biggest part has to do with kind of farming and make sure you're not giving anything away. It didn't cause all of it, but that big deicide around that first Stygian beacon was certainly one of the big causes, of course followed by the Gold Fury and the Pyromancer, but not putting yourself in that disadvantageous position, that's definitely not a word. I mean, we still see the Gold Fury up, the beacon's coming back up, they're going to have opportunities to kind of get some more fights here on even footing and kind of claw that lead back, and they need to take advantage, virtually already starting over on DLC.
Already starting indeed, and now we got a little bit of downtime, it looks like, before, well, never mind, the beacon is spawning, so there's probably going to be a fight soon, so I'll bring up my point I wanted to talk about later. So the beacon has spawned, and yes, both teams are here and ready to fight over it. Does look like Kingslayers have the advantage as of right now, which is understandable with the lead they have, and now it's actually Phoenix being brought in the tower. The tower is almost gone, there's one basic as the Chaos, so Kingslayers will get the Stygian Beacon at least. No kills as of right now, but a few low health bars, as Phoenix is around half HP. Lots of fields over there, so, well, half of the Sunbreakers are invisible right now. Will it matter though? Tyr actually jumping in, getting on top of the other solo laner on Phoenix here. And now Ragemore in the back, using his ultimate as well. And oh, Brutalize just barely not being enough to end off the E set. Having to use the Ragnarok to run out yourself, and double Fearless here, great Fearless, as the bombs from Agni will rain down as well. Finally get the first kill here on Stanaway, will fall down towards Dragonlordcat. But nothing else seems to be going out of it. So that's a very, very long drawn out fight, but only 1 kill. But hey, that's a beacon and a kill for the Kingslayers, so I don't think they will be complaining anytime soon.
Kingslayers certainly win that fight, and Sunbreakers might be lucky that only 1 player died. They're still trying to continue the fight, but Tyr had a great dash onto Phoenix, knocking him into the tower, virtually survived by pure luck out there, and of course the Sanctified Field walling off the Fenrir, not wanting to step much further. Sunbreakers is not the best fight in the world, but they don't lose too much, and more importantly, now the Kuzenbos respawned. We see Kingslayers rotating here to the left-hand side towards the Oni Fury. Sunbreakers are going to be able to respond in full.
Yes, they might be able to. They're slowly walking out of base. The Gold Fury being soft-pulled a few times, might finally be hard-pulled now as the Ganesh has shown up to tank it. First trying to catch out NoboFish, beats being used, ults coming out, and yes, NoboFish will fall down towards Ragemore. Great help by Wavern as well there. Gold Fury is being dropped though, so just a kill as of right now is what they're gonna take. But the Sunbreakers are on the retreat, so the Gold Fury might be picked up again. And yes, the Ganesh will start hitting it, again. But Sunbreakers is definitely still around, so there is some stealing potential here. As the Gold Fury is falling below half, the pillars are already being used, and it's actually a Pyro Bomb we see here as the Kingslayers will confirm the Gold Fury. Unlucky. I really thought that Dark MNS was really close. As virtually will get a kill in the backline onto the Fenrir, so they do lose their jungler there. Might I say 4 kills bounty jungler for this Gold Fury, but hey, it's still an objective for 1 death. It's not the best in the world, but I think they'll still take it, especially after how close Death from Above got for the Marticarus to actually start to steal that. So I think Kingslayers can count their lucky stars that they even got that Gold Fury. Maybe a little bit of a misplay.
Now Pyro going to be started up by the Sunbreakers. Kingslayers are here. It's going to be a 4v4 for now as Ownerrun just now joining the fight. And yeah, Sunbreakers able to claw a kill off the back end of that one. Ooh, and now Nico starting the fight. Stanaway pushes him into a wall. Are we going to see another fight break out?
It just seems like both teams are testing the waters a little bit. I mean, some soft pulls on top of the Pyromancer, but nothing major as of right now. Some poke being thrown out, but nothing big. But that is something big, as IttsKatt's taking a lot of damage from the tier here. Virtually in a bit of trouble, but now the tier might be a little bit out of position as the Pyromancer will fall down towards the Sunbreakers, actually. Big steal coming out from the Sunbreakers. I think Darknms might have stolen that. That's massive for the Sunbreakers, and that is one step trying to get back into this game.
A good break for the Sunbreakers yet again, starting to kind of get the semblances of, you know, we're not out of this, we can certainly still fight. Wyvern heading into right, Phoenix is close if virtually can survive.
Great pre-beats, making sure that you don't get silenced out of Brutalize, but missing the Ragnarok one target body, and now you're 1 HP, jumping back in actually. Blink, no, misses. Oh my, he got it, and then the Phoenix missing the execute, and Fenrir might live. What is that HP? There is no way. There is no way.
Wow. I don't really think there are any words for that. That was an incredible play by Wyvern.
Eclipse of Define, everyone. Yeah, we got some great plays all around the board. You gotta give credits to Wyvern there, of course, but if you are virtually or if you are Phoenix there, you gotta be eating your fingers right now. That's so frustrating to happen. I mean, we're all human by the end of the day, so this kind of stuff does happen. But that's a big downer, and that might play on the mental in trying to get back into this game.
Virtually someone that's been around the scene for a while, certainly always confident in their abilities. I'd hope that that wouldn't affect them too much. Never really seen them get rattled in comms or anything alike, so luckily for Sunbreakers, they're not going to have somebody who tilts back there. But just having that ESET down, having another kill onto the Fenrir is going to be huge. Maybe even if it doesn't bring down Virtually's mental, that's got to skyrocket Wyverns. I mean, that was an incredibly, incredibly mechanically good play.
Yeah, and especially after those double dashes from the Achilles and the one, he couldn't have been more than 50 HP. So lucky to be alive. He must be counting his lucky stars and must be very happy about it. So we see a Midgardian mill here by the Ganesha. JunglePhobic going forward, as we see the Pritwin being upgraded on the other side for Stanaway. Well, what side do you prefer? I mean, we usually see the other Pritwin upgrade, do we not? All that thought though, as I thought Virtually might have died there for a second, but the Warren not going for the grab up and actually will die. Phoenix getting his revenge, will get the execute off, and the jungler from Sunbreak is still alive. Great for them. Beats did get expended though as well by the Marticorus. Both relics actually, I must say, are down as of right now because of that fight, but hey, getting the jungler again from the Kingslayers is a big pick there, and Phoenix redeeming himself, hitting the execute this time.
Phoenix does hit the execute, love seeing that, and the Fenrir going down. It didn't have as big of a bounty this time, but it's certainly going to be a big morale booster. Now, Primal Fury being looked at, and while there's a minute for reaction, I think we have been seeing more of the Reverend Pridwin lately. I think people starting to prioritize the bigger shield over maybe the double slow. Certainly did start out the other way around, but now Sunbreaker's gonna try to step up and force a fight here. They have a 5v4 and they know it.
They know it indeed. Then the Kingslayers still, I mean, even in a 5v4, it's hard to count them out. They're quite far ahead, as we saw in the graphs just a second ago. I would be still a bit afraid if I was the Sunbreakers. Something I want to talk about though is this Medusa build, Fisher. We see both ability-based and attack speed-based items in the same build. I usually prefer if the Primal Fury, by the way, is just taken down by the Kingslayers and everyone from Sunbreakers is grouping around this fire, so we might see something over there real quick. So I will come back to the Medusa build in a second, as a little bit of a skirmish is going out here. Wyvern might be actually a bit out of position. Phoenix trying to catch him out, but now can do. Unfortunate situation over there, and the Titans running at each other in solo lane. So going back to this Medusa build, Fisher. What do you think? Is it better to just stick with one gun and go for either the attack speed or the ability-based build, or do you actually like the combination while Pyromancer is being taken by the Sunbreakers?
Pyromancer is going to fall to the Sunbreakers. There's something that can be said for either. I certainly would favor just the pure ability build if you're going to go that, but Executioner does have a lot of protection shred, so it certainly does fit into that build nicely. Now Kingslayers take that down the Titan, and I gotta say, I don't like how neither of these teams putting an emphasis onto the Titan could be such a good sieging tool, but Kingslayers using it as an engage. There goes the tier.
There goes the tier indeed, jumping into the backline. Beats being used now as well, and actually falling down below half. Not much help just at that second, but now there is, as Warren will get the first kill onto Phoenix with the Ragnarok. Medusa ulti was already being used there as well, and the Titan is still alive, so he still got that big sieging tool for this tier 2 tower over here, as well as a massive wave coming in. There are the Dharmic pillars bringing out the ESET, as now the Ragnarok, the Brutalize will confirm the kills. Dragonlordcat will get a kill for themselves onto Stanaway. I'm reading some names through each other. Tier 2 tower is already down, and they're looking at a Phoenix. This might be an early end call. We're 28 minutes in, there's not even an EFG yet, and the Titans are gonna meet each other, but not running away anymore.
Instead, Kingslayer is gonna pull away and go back for the Fire Giant. It's not gonna be enhanced yet, but they should get it. Fairly contest-free. Neither of the backliners here for Sunbreakers have their ultimates, and if they step up, you'd imagine they are just going to get collapsed on. I think Sunbreakers probably staying away from that one, so Kingslayers will hold the buff. Almost would have liked to see them go for an end call there. It would have been risky, but they had full HP bars against only 2 members. It would have been possible, but they're going to take the safe route, and I feel like I've said it 1,000 times. I'll never hate on a team for playing it too safe.
Yeah, and one thing to remember is that there are still 2 towers up for the Sunbreakers. That's going to make their Titan way too healthy to be comfortable at least. So there is that. So I do respect and see why they called it like this. That being said, though, now Fire Giant for the Kingslayers, that might make a big difference into the next fight. I mean, we see a 10k gold difference here, 14k XP, although the XP at this point not gonna matter too much anytime soon anymore, as everyone is slowly starting to reach the level 20. We still see Phoenix on level 90, which is interesting. Normally the solo laners are one of the earlier roles to hit level 20. And we see the Kusubo on level 15, but the Kusubo is still going to be a Kusubo. So the XP difference doesn't matter. The gold difference, however, 10k, that's a lot.
It is a lot, and we see it mostly in the builds. A lot of the people on Sunbreakers are missing their 6th item, would love to have that online. And I'd agree. I think on a lot of other supports, you'd see that 4-level difference and you'd be like, uh-oh, that's not good. We got to fix that. Kuzenbo has a lot of damage mitigation built into that kit. Great CC, great displacement, can reflect damage. You still don't like being 4 levels down, but it's not going to hinder them as much as it would another character. Now, the final tier 2 tower is going to fall in the mid lane. I'd like to see Kingslayers try to force a Phoenix fight. They might just wait for an opening, though.
They sure might, although I do think they might just have it if they go for it, but seems like they're going for the safe play again. Oni Fury is spawning, and those powered up minions, always nice to have, so hey, nothing wrong with that. Oracle's being exhausted first as we're now pulling the Oni Fury. No one from the Sunbreakers is daring to step up over here, and well, I can do nothing but agree with them. I don't think I would have stepped up there personally. It's looking rough for the Sunbreakers. What in particular, like, who do you need to pick right now if you want to get back into this, KingFsher?
The next time they fight, it's going to be on a defensive standpoint. We haven't really seen Sunbreakers take a lot of proactive fights in the second half of this match. They do have a good comp built for defense, though. They have CC, they have damage. If it's me, you have to get Nicodrin early. Been absolutely punishing the backline, separating the team like crazy. It's what Tier does best, and if you continue to let him do that, you're not going to win any team fights. But that's much easier said than done. Level 20, full build, certainly just tanky to the max. Tier's not an easy character to shut down, but if he's alive, I don't see a world where Sunbreakers have a successful defense.
Indeed, it's gonna be rough, but hey, we have seen more weird things in Smite, right, KingFsher? Like,
True.
Anything can happen. It's still video games at the end of the day. Maybe everyone from Kingslayers gets DDoSed out of nowhere, and we get a completely different game, right?
Exactly. I mean, just last year in the playoffs, we had a team forced onto their own Titan room, make 3 successful defenses in a row, and go turn it around. Nico doesn't want to let that happen, though.
No, the Blink tier Fearless is a classic combo going out as now the Phoenix under attack, but great ultimate by Oloron, getting a kill for himself as first he's actually walking away. Brian getting the second kill, so it's 1-for-1 for now. Both mid laners are dead, and so is the bird. The Phoenix will fall down, and now Ragnarok being forced out, grabbing the solo laner back into this fight. Using Brutalize on top of it as well, and Phoenix on half HP, but will be able to walk out. Maybe a little bit of a wrong target had to grab the solo laner with the Ragnarok, but hey, what does it matter? Because you get a bird, and now the second bird will fall down very quickly as well. Looking at a third one already, and it's looking worse and worse if you are a Sunbreakers fan here. It's 30 seconds before the mid laner is back. It's a 4v4 on both sides, of course. That's what V means versus. So it's makes sense that they're both on 4 if it's either side. But yeah, all 3 birds did fall down for the Sunbreakers. Kingslayers having an open Titan room to attack.
I'm always a big fan of teams going for the aggressive Titan end, but I think in that situation, getting the Phoenixes down is probably a lot more useful. Fire Giant ran out just as they were stepping onto the third one. They got enhanced up in 30 seconds. Dragonlordcat is back from the grave. And we see this a lot of times where it kind of turns into a make or break fight on the Fire Giant. With all 3 birds down, if Kingslayers get enhanced Fire Giant, I think the game's just over. Sunbreakers probably don't want to step up and defend this, but it's an objective that they have to contest. They need to be at that Fire Giant.
They sure do. It's EFG now as well, and it's a bit of a do or die situation for the Sunbreakers. I mean, if they step up here and they lose the fight, they might all die. And the Kingslayers, like I said, even if both teams got a deal side, the Kingslayers just win out of minions rushing in from all sides onto the throne room. But still, Sunbreakers gotta be here, and they gotta pull it like they're doing, because they can't wait it out. Means rushing their Titan, so they have to do this quick as well. But the Kingslayers not want to give this up for free. Dark Pillars coming out, and there is the slowing field from the Oloron. 3 bombs from the Agni being fallen down in the end. As Death from Above is being used already as well. Sunbreakers on a lot of low health bars, and there comes the kill for Ragemaw on top of the Oloron. Oh, sorry, not the Oloron, onto Darknms. And now it is NoboFish on a very low health bar as well. Will be got out by the Ragemaw here. Yes, he will. A few crits. Crits? How did that crit? I don't even know how it crit, but it did. And Ragemaw will get another kill on top of it as well. Titan, well, minions basically already did everything for you. 2 more hits as the Titan will fall down for game 1. Kingslayers will take it.
And the Kingslayers do take it in a very, very convincing win there in game number 1. They really just kind of got out of that early game good, got a strong late game, and were able to carry it all the way through to the end. A really solid game on all cylinders there from the Chaos side team.
Indeed, I couldn't agree more, Fisher. Like, absolutely great Smite we saw all across the board. And even though the Sunbreakers couldn't get it done, I still think they had some really good plays all around the board. I mean, the Oloron, I've seen him outplay multiple times in this map, and firstly got some really good kills as well. But what a great game of Smite by the Kingslayers. I mean, Fenrir going 8-2-4 with what else is there to say about it? I mean, it's just great Smite. The only thing that's surprising to me is that the damage numbers aren't the highest I have seen this season. But then again, it was a relatively short game, and just well done. Go ahead, Fisher.
Mate, I think you already took a lot of it. Not our longest game in the world, but certainly not just as much useless fighting as we kind of see in games. And it's a part of Smite. It's always going to happen where you just get in that internal team fight and nothing really happens. But every single kill in this game had a purpose. Kingslayers did a great job choosing their battles. And almost 25,000 damage on the Medusa. Did not see that coming. Ragemaw certainly making a case on why Medusa should be a meta ADC. Going into game 2, if you're the Sunbreakers, I don't know what you do to slow down that team. I mean, picks aside, it was just a dominant showing. Great positioning, great teamwork, great coordination, and it gets them the game 1 victory.
Yeah, I not assure myself KingFsher, like whatever they can do to turn it around. But hey, I do hope we get to see a game 3 and we get to see the Sunbreakers just maybe stepping it up a little bit more. And to be fair, I thought they had a really good draft, so I don't even think that's the problem. I think they had the strongest support in the game as of right now. I really like the Odor run. So I'm not sure what they gotta change. Maybe the team wasn't the problem. Maybe it's something mentally. Anyway, I hope they can step it up this game and give the Kingslayers a run for their money, and we'll definitely see what happens. As so far, the bans are the same as in game 1.
No real surprise there. And if you're planning on target banning people, I would honestly consider taking away the Fenrir if I'm Sunbreakers. I mean, as good as the Agni did, as good as the Medusa did, things like the Fenrir and the Tyr, I think, were just objectively more of a problem. And played greatly by the Kingslayers. They're going to take Ganesh off the board. They don't want to have to deal with that getting first picked away. And if you're Sunbreakers, I feel like the problem that game was more with maybe positioning, coordinating as a team, showing up to the right places at the right time. I think I agree with you. I liked their team comp last game. I didn't really see too many problems with it. I really wouldn't be scared about running most of the same draft back.
Indeed, and as the bans are coming through, we see the full ban being banned out last again, so only the Ganesh is new out of all the bans so far, I do believe. But yeah, I mean, what do you do if you are the Sunbreakers? Ravana, Kali, and Susanoo, all 3 are pretty much just a must ban, and you do get the Multichorus once again as a first pick. So yeah, maybe we do see the run back. And normally I'm not the biggest fan of a salty run back, especially after a loss, but this time it could definitely work.
It absolutely could. And even if they're not going to run back the same roster, having a Martikris on your team is, I think we talked about it game 1, it doesn't matter what you pick around it. It's always going to be a good pick. It's going to do the damage. And it's going to be a Kuzenbo lock-in. Now for the Kingslayers, not giving that one over to the Sunbreakers. And I think I already said it. Yeah, the Tyr and the Fenrir were the problems. We're going to see the Tyr lock-in. If I'm Sunbreakers, pick the Fenrir. Because if not, Kingslayers are going to pick it, and they're going to do good with it.
Yeah, I would like a Fenrir pick, and I shouted it out in game 1, but I will say it again. You're against the Tyr. I would really like to see a Jormungandr here. I think it would absolutely smack. But yeah, we don't see a 5 run back from the Sunbreakers as the Kuzenbo will go towards the Kingslayers this time. Instead, we'll see a Terra in what I would assume is the support here. Yeah, Big Mama.
Probably not what we were looking for, but the Terra, always a good support pick. Does pretty well, has a heal, has a stun, has a root, pretty much everything you want your support to have. So maybe it's not really what we were expecting or hoping for, but it's going to do good. And they pair that with the Sun Wukong, a warrior that's really been picking up steam lately, very aggressive, can probably battle into the Tyr very well, although it's kind of hard for me to imagine it's really going to have the same impact late game that the Tyr is going to have.
As the Agni is being brought back again as well, which I really liked game 1, so fair enough. But yeah, talking about Sun Wukong, yes, he is one of the strongest solo laners in the game, so I don't hate it. He's good into practically anyone, has a lot of good pressure in lane, good wave clear, good poke, so it's a good pick all overall, but it's not Jormungandr. Hey, I'll keep saying it. As the Izanami and the Freya will finally be banned out, Freya going through all the way to second phase? That is also a big surprise to me. I forgot she existed for a second. She wasn't banned out. That's a top pick in my book.
Especially after the game the Olorun had, it was still a good game. Maybe not the best stat line and didn't have the chance to really flex her stuff, but NoboFish certainly did good on that. Olorun had moments where it kind of saved the team in a couple spots. I certainly would not have hated seeing them back on a magical ADC, even if it's not the same. Kind of imagine, really, that Freya would have been a better pick than the Sun Wukong. I mean, it feels like we're ragging on it too much. Sun Wukong's still a good pick. There's nothing wrong with it. But now, facing an X-Ball on the other side, it's a very aggressive ADC, battles very well. Nobo's going to have to be very careful with the pick here in order to make sure, they survive the laning phase.
And Xbalanque, right, is that one god that probably gets the biggest buff from casuals and ranked into comp, since his ultimate is completely disrupting everyone and all the communication falls all overboard as no one can see anything anymore. So I really like Xbalanque in a competitive setting. as we see the Erlang Shen being locked in, and the Ishtar will be the last pick for the Sunbreakers here. Ishtar is a hunter that's been falling out a little bit out of favor, but still a decent pick. So I think you were going to say something about it, Fisher, so I'll give you the word now.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was going to say, I really do like the Ishtar pick. It's one that should be able to kind of counter the X-Ball and aggressiveness. You have a large CC immune ultimate that's going to help against the Kuzenbo and the tier diving deep. And we see an Erlang Shen got a huge buff going into this last season of Smite, and wasn't really played a whole ton. I love seeing Virtually on this pick. I did like the IttsKatt jungle, but you can do so much more with a traditional, well, warrior, not assassin, but this Erlang should go pretty big into the Awilix.
It sure should, as well. Awilix is a god that also has gotten a lot of steam recently, at least in the EU meta. As far as I know, I'm not too confident with the NA meta as of right now, but I really like the Awilix as well. But that being your teams, let's get into game 2, Fisher. As we look at Stanaway here, standing on top of the XP camps, as the buffs will spawn for you. And we got game 2, and hopefully game 2 can be an interesting one. As much as I like stumps, as let's be honest, game 1 was a bit of a stump, I think I really much prefer when both teams gotta say into the match. It's a bit back and forward, so let's hope for that in this game, Fisher.
I mean, absolutely. You always love seeing games go the distance. I mean, the best of 5 series, you want to see a game 5. It's what everyone wants to see. Hoping to see a game 3 here. I was gonna remark on the desk before it got a little bit cut short by the start of the game. We saw with that last pick Awilix lock-in. Awilix, a great character. I'm gonna just play devil's advocate here. There's not a single leap on the Sunbreakers, and you have 1 knockup in the tier dash on the Kingslayers. Love the pick. Don't know if it's really the best suited for these team comps.
Well, technically, Fisher, you can also ult out of the Kuzenbo ultimate, but hey, that would require 2 ultimates being used. And it's not the easiest, as the Kuzenbo knockups aren't the highest, but it is predictable though, as you have a few in a row, so can be done if it's necessary. I still like the Awilix pick. She has a knockup herself as well, don't forget about that. If she does hit people from behind with her 3, she'll still knock them up.
True. I mean, when people see Awilix, normally don't turn their bag on her because you don't want to get knocked up, you don't want to get pulled in. I mean, true. Thank you for pointing out. I did forget about the Kuzenbo knockups. I mean, they're very small, but if you time them right, you can pull them in. Gonna force a lot of beads, but we only see 2 sets of purification beads on the side of Sunbreakers. You're gonna need more than that.
Well, yeah, I expect them to get a little bit more into the late game, but I do like that Virtually just said, I don't need them early, and just went for the blink. Being able to show some presence is also always necessary, as Weirin is actually over here into the solo, and it seems like Phoenix knows as he's looking at them, but the cooldown buff will go towards tier here with the help from his jungler. So yeah, that's good. Wukong already actually getting a little bit ahead in XP. Maybe that the Erlang... Oh, sorry, it is the Erlang, of course, who helped the Wukong. I'm so sorry. I'm confusing stuff. I'm handing it back to you, Fisher.
Fair enough, whenever you need to be bailed out. I gotcha. Now, over here in the solo lane, Phoenix low health. Wyvern steps up. Could this be the first blood? It should be. Phoenix dropping low, and Nico gets the kill.
First blood will go towards the tier, and yes, I was wrong again. It was Weirin helping out the tier, of course. That is what I was trying to say overall. But helping out even more, making sure his tier gets first blood here. Level 5, first one on the board with level 5 as well, because for that first blood, that's a very big pick.
It is, and I think you had remarked before those battles kind of started out, the Sun Wukong maybe getting up a little bit in XP, a little bit of pressure over the tier. Certainly wiped off the map with that pick. Nico now going to have the pressure these next couple of waves. Sun Wukong still does get the blue buff. There's no Ganesh this game, so it shouldn't be under pressure at all.
So if we got a little bit of downtime, as I think Virtually will get out of here. I mean, Agni does have bombs, so it can be a bit scary. Oh, might actually be scary if they stop for this red buff here, and otherwise we get a red buff invade by the Kingslayers here. Seems like they are going for it, but hey, Sunbreakers is going back in, but firstly, you're too low for that stun coming out. Tick damage not being enough, especially with the shield from the Erlang will get out, but the red buff is being stolen, but not for long as well. You can't wear it when you're dead. Darknms with the death from above. Enough to kill the Agni with some help from the Wukong who rotated over, threw his one over there. And yeah, great kills. And it's 1-1 once again. It's looking like a mirror from game 1.
Good deal there from Darknms in the mid lane. I'm willing to bet Dragonlordcat did not expect a rotating Sun Wukong at 4 minutes. No, I certainly wouldn't have. Now Ragemore in some pressure, gonna use a Jaguar dash to get out of trouble though. One of the best dashes in the game on that character. Gonna be really hard to see NoboFish or really even virtually on a gank having too much success around that character when they're able to get out of trouble that easily.
Yeah, the CC immunity on such a long dash is a little bit insane. It would be one of the only dashes with CC immunity in the game. The only other one I can really think of is, for example, a Changa. If you can really count that as a dash, would you count that as a dash, Fish?
I personally wouldn't. I really don't know how it's classified, considering you don't move anywhere. It'd be hard to, but now JunglePhobic looking for virtually a Wyvern here too.
Virtually in a lot of trouble as the Kusumo ult's coming out, and Wyvern will confirm the kill. Wheelix going 1-0 up herself. Now 1-0 in 1, getting a kill onto Virtually. A little bit cut off out of position, but great place by JunglePhobic, bringing out the best out of Kusumo, doing what Kusumo is best at. Because I don't know if you knew this, Fisher, but back being stopped by the way. But Kusumo is one of the last Guardians in the game that still has an ultimate on 75-second cooldown. With how good it is today, that's insane. But hold that thought though, as now Ragemore in a lot of trouble, being up to Jaguar out for now, using his Bastion as a little bit of a stepping stone to block auto attacks for him, but you can't block the lobster auto attacks, but it will not be enough. NoboFish doesn't get the kill, but will get the beats from the X-Ball.
Good job there, trying to force out some utility from Ragemore, but now JunglePhobic gonna be in trouble, sitting around the beacon spawn. About 6 minutes too early. JunglePhobic taking a lot of damage. Sunbreakers peel off for these left Harpies, and Kingslayers are chasing.
Kingslayers are trying to chase indeed. Does seem like they gave up for now. Probably just waiting around a little bit. I mean, they are 2-1 up, of course, so... And there is nothing to get as of right now. I mean, the Gold Fury is alive, but hey, you're not gonna do that 6 minutes in 9 out of 10 times. So I like the call to just say like, well, we're fighting over nothing. Let's just back off for now, not go too deep and overstay our welcome, as we have seen more often than not that trying to rush something can also lead to you just losing out on other stuff. Wyvern looking over here into the duo lane a little bit, trying to see if they can gank, but it seemed like NoboFish knew. Hacking the wall all the way on the left side, did lose out on his purple buff though, as Wyvern did invade it. So good job on them. Yeah, but like I said before, there's nothing up as of right now, so I would assume the first really big team fight will probably be around the 12-minute mark when the Bastion spawns.
I would say probably. Much to my chagrin, that is kind of the benchmark where these teams really start to group up. Really glad the Wyvern didn't jump over the wall there on that purple buff invade. I was getting ready to, like, I wouldn't do that. It's risky. Still might be able to go for it soon. Kusumo and Terra rotating over to left. Ragemore sitting at a little bit above half. Gonna see a 2v2 here.
Dashes in, but now the supports are here, and I would favor the Kusumo over the Terra here for this survival and fighting chance. But actually, Phoenix getting killed and Dragonlordcat getting killed. Phoenix being brought back in under tower by Wyvern, and now Agni's still here. Dash does connect, stun does connect, and one more basic will get the double kill for Dragonlordcat onto the Agni. Sorry that we missed a little bit of the first action over there, but hey, there you go. Double kill for the mid laner.
Just like last game, a solo gank caught us completely unaware off guards there, but Agni getting the double kill. I feel like we talked about that last game when they had the first blood like 3.5 minutes in. You don't want to be giving Agni any extra XP. Can certainly be deadly from a lead. Those fire bombs just do so much damage when you're not ready for him. Now Agni trying to make his presence felt over here on the left lane. Darknms just gonna back away from this one.
Oracle's going towards the Kingslayers, I do believe, as I see the red ward on top of the Gold Fury. Stanaway trying to cause some trouble over there at least, but wasn't able to out-secure the Agni bombs. But now Ragemo in a lot of trouble, virtually going in here, and NoboFish will confirm the kill onto Ragemo. The X-Ball, you got a lot of CC immunity, you got Beach, you got Dash, but none of it will be enough to live out a gank from virtually if you are alone. Great gank over there. Stanaway now ulting himself with a lot of help from Darknms. Death from above coming out as well. Dragonlordcat is low, but is it low enough? No, it doesn't appear to be the way as Darknms is falling back as of right now. JunglePhobic, not quite as scared as his mid laner, but hey, I mean, that makes sense. You're Kusubo, you don't have to be scared. Wyvern over here though, seeing if they can invade the purple buff, but no. NoboFish knew what was going on. He didn't see the last like 3 or 4 purple buffs going his way, so dragging this one in the tower as soon as it spawns, probably the smart move. Wyvern now being out-caught here a little bit, invading the green buff instead, and now there are 3 people over here from Sunbreakers, but so is JunglePhobic. Kusumo ult coming out, bombs coming out, and actually the bombs pushing virtually out of the damage from Agni, but hey, Kusumo will get the kill himself instead. He will say thank you very much, I will take it, as the jungler falls down from the Sunbreakers.
A kill there from the Kusumo. Love seeing when supports pick up kills. Virtually just didn't stand a chance going into that one. Now Wyvern's still sticking around just at about half HP. Sunbreakers though, a little bit low on mana with the Terror to try to engage at. With Dragonlordcat backing though, all the action should stop for a minute, give you a chance to reset your breath.
Reset my breath indeed. It was one long drawn out combat call, I guess, but a minute and a half before the Stygian Beacon spawns, and then we will probably go again. Looking at this totem over here, do we have any totem tyrants who really want to get that? It seemed like Tail was going for more than a Wukong.
They're both going to be battling it out over there now, but there is an Wheelix on the way over. If Nico can hold Phoenix long enough, it could spell trouble for the Sun Wukong, and indeed, Wyvern's arrived.
Wyvern has arrived indeed, as we're still looking at the mid lane right now, so we don't quite know what is going on, but hey, it seems like the Wukong just used bird form and was able to get out fine. Blue buff will be secured though. Here in the middle lane though, now it will be interesting as we're only 50 seconds away from the Stygian Beacon spawning. And who would you say, Fisher, has the best news on paper right now to try and get the Stygian Beacon?
You know, given the fact that there is a tier in the game, I'm just gonna say Tier's team. I'd argue Kingslayers certainly have the advantage if they do have Nico. Roll over to mid, did not start with the tower teleport, so gonna have to walk over just on their way back to lane right now. And as good as this draft from Sunbreakers is, and they're pretty close in XP, pretty close in gold, the tier for me just makes a difference, but virtually might not even be alive for it.
Yeah, good poke coming out. 2 bombs from Dragonlordcat there over the wall, making sure that the jungler from Sunbreakers on virtually here has to back off a little bit, but NoboFish actually running over as well. And here's Ragemo, but Ragemo might be caught out a little bit by the ult from virtually, but actually virtually doing more damage than he can take. Yeah, Ragemo got ulted, but still actually won that trade. He was like, you're gonna make sure I hit my ult attacks with your taunt? Don't mind if I do, and now the beacon will go towards Kingslayers without much of a contest at all.
Oh, I feel so good for calling that going in. Kingslayers do end up with the beacon, and they're looking for a kill on the back end. They're over here on Gold Fury. Wyvern gonna take away the purple, gonna spot out NoboFish soon. It's a risky call. Sunbreakers are here, but I like it from Kingslayers.
It's only Stanaway as of right now, as the Gold Fury actually gets burned hard. Wyvern getting out Nobo, and actually the knock-up from there. Awilix herself will drag Nobo back in, but I'm not sure if they want to do that, because while they're falling down very low, have to actually run. Wukong ult coming out as well, actually jumping in on top of everyone, and it will be JunglePhobic falling down first. Darknms getting the first kill of himself, and it's actually Sunbreakers who will run towards the Kingslayers now. going for a purple buff invade mid-fight, and actually seems like they will just take their kill, take the invade, and call it quits over there. It's the best they could do as of right now, but Dragonlordcat running back in together with his solo laner Nico, and Nico is playing tier, don't you forget it. So that's always gonna be a menace in these fights.
Kingslayers maybe overextend a little bit on the back of that Gold Fury take, but honestly, sacrificing the support for the first Stygian Beacon of the game and the Gold Fury, it's a trade you love to take. I'm sure JunglePhobic not worried at all for that death, but now Ragemore gonna add one more to the tally. NoboFish out of nowhere picks up a kill onto the X-Ball.
Virtually was coming over, but don't you forget it, it was a solo kill completely. NoboFish just shining, saying, I have been here, I've been in ADC last season, get back to the solo lane, Ragemore.
Ragemore probably doesn't want to go back to the solo lane, can get way more kills over there in the duo lane. Still looking for their first of the match, but plenty of time left to do it. Now the Awilix grouping up around mid, we see another 3v3 grouping here. These teams really just like fighting it pretty much every opportunity.
And look at the Awilix looking for the window, trying to get a knockup. Will get the knockup onto Virtually. Feather Step cancelling out the dash, and one more basic will do the trick. Great solo kill. I was just about to say something about it as well, and exactly what I was gonna say happened. And Wyron just showing some individual class as well, knowing the character in and in, getting a kill onto Virtually.
Lurking in the scariest corners of the map, the Awilix gets another great kill there by Wyvern to send Vert down for the 4th time this game. Erlon Shet not been having as much success as I think we might have thought on Desk. And a 3-level disadvantage, it can be hard to come back from, but does have a lot of attack speed in that build. If I was Virtually, I'd just focus on farming for these next few minutes, get your levels up, but it looks like the junglers may meet again over and left as this tier now kind of toying with the players on Sunbreakers.
Toying is probably the best word, as the Pyromancer will get pulled as well. I mean, X-Ball ulting, so no one knows that it's going on. As actually Shibalanki might be ganked into the dual lane here, but first we're going over to this Pyromancer call. Pyromancer still not being dropped, it's actually going very low, and the Kingslayers will confirm it there from above, not being enough to confirm or to steal it, as Nico is now trying to be a menace towards Darknms, will be able to do so, getting on most of his health, but actually the other solo laner, Phoenix over here, diving deep on top of Dragonlordcat and JunglePhobic, but hey, you're a Kuzenbo and you got an Agni with a stun, so you are fine as of right now. Just using the bombs on themselves and running away. No kills after all at all in the end. A bit surprising that, but hey, the Pyromancer fell down towards Kingslayers, so once again they come over victorious just a little bit.
Kingslayers, just like game 1, get all the objectives, but now Wyvern in trouble, try to go on Virtually again. Wyvern dropping low, gets over the wall, and a beautiful route to find the kill.
Virtually finding the kill, and what a kill indeed. Beauty, you will say, with over the wall with the, I believe, the pin, getting it done. I thought for a second that Darknms might have gotten it with tick damage, but no, it was Virtually who did confirm, and finally on the board himself. Was 0-4 before, now 1-4. That's a big step up, and maybe the beginning of something great, as Sunbreakers will also bring down their first tower of the game onto the dual lane, or sorry, the mid lane here.
Certainly hope it is if you're Virtually want to keep riding that wave. And pulling back even with the Awilix now only half a level ahead, that character can be really difficult to contend with when they're out in front, so anything you can get off the Awilix sure to be good news. Oni Fury now up, and Sunbreakers one on the left-hand side of the map. They got the mid laner and the jungler here. They're going to try to take this tier 1 tower and do it with ease. Kingslayers are rotating over. I'd love to see Sunbreakers head back into the jungle, see if you can make anything happen on that Fury. Might not have the chance to, though. Now Kingslayers starting to arrive.
Yeah, and Darknms just back to base. Some Wukong still farming onto the right lane as well, so it's gonna be a tough call. And now it actually might be the Kingslayers who will pull this. Yes, they will. The Nene Kappa already coming out, and the Oni Fury being pulled by the Kingslayers as of early right now, and it's being burned quite fast already, around half HP. And no one from Sunbreakers is even showing up remotely close. It's just a free Oni Fury for the Kingslayers. Might have just been sneaked away, if anything, as the beacon is spawning. Everyone from Sunbreakers backing at the same time, giving up an objective for free. That's the kind of stuff we need to see them talk over and get rid of a little bit, because this can't be happening. With the beacon spawning though, they're looking to set up a fight for this.
And they're going to be the first ones on it. Kingslayers a little bit scattered, but they're starting to come together. Tyr and Wheelix are on the left-hand side, might be in behind. Stanaway, the only one there. The rest of the Kingslayers have arrived. Who's going to be the target?
The target we will see soon. It appears to be NoboFish. NoboFish being forced to beat by the Kusunbo. And, well, with this station beacon still being up, it's now all of Kingslayers actually standing inside of Darknms trying to cause some havoc over there, but not enough, as the beacon will fall for the second time towards the Kingslayers. So that's a 2-0 for now. So their Titan will definitely have a little bit more power than the Sunbreakers will, especially it being Chaos Titan. And with a little bit of a bug in the game right now, Chaos Titan always wins.
Yes, Chaos side is just the best side. That Chaos Titan does hit different. And now, Kingslayers, this is the second straight objective we've seen Sunbreakers. I mean, the Oni Fury right before, the Sticky Beacon just now, kind of give up. Tyr into the backline though, tries to find a knock-up onto Stanaway, not going to put him out of position.
Phoenix now falling down very low, but Wukong being able to get up as Darknms actually will get the first kill onto Dragonlordcat here, and this fight is far from over. Dashes in from all sides as Nico did miss the Fearless by a little bit there, by the looks of it, and Sunbreakers is actually running in, they're pressing W, trying to go in here. Darknms using the Death from above onto Ragemaul, but Ragemaul using the Jaguar to just go out of there. But Phoenix actually in the back, being grabbed by Wayon. Kusunbo getting the end call there, but Wayon not done yet, getting a kill for himself as well onto Virtually. And in the end, it's a 2-for-1. Dragonlordcat, yes, did fall down, but in the end, Kingslayers, after Sunbreakers maybe press W just a little bit too much, win the fight once again. And now the Pyromancer is being looked at. There are more people from Sunbreakers with a high health bar here though, but they gotta do it very, very fast then, because the Kingslayers are coming. Here's Wayern, here is Ragemaul, gotta be a bit careful. NoboFish doing a lot of damage, so is Darknms, and Wayern actually needing to go out, but there's Nico ulting in. Fearless does get off the mark, so Stanaway being able to run out for now. No more kills, but once again, the Pyromancer is being looked at.
Pyromancer now going to be pulled up by the Kingslayers. Sunbreakers still hanging around, might show up for it. Phoenix is in. They have Nobo here, and Kingslayers just going to drop the objective. Probably the right call. I mean, it's a 50-50, you get it, but Sunbreakers haven't had an objective yet. You certainly don't want to be the ones to hand it over to them. And Kingslayers still hanging around, still doing pretty good, but it's a few more minutes before anything big on the map is going to happen. Now Pyromancer pulled by the enemy team. Wow, they're really just going back and forth.
Yeah, and here's the big difference. Not everyone from Kingslay is back, so they actually can fight over this Pyromancer. Pyromancer on 1 HP will fall down towards the Sunbreakers in the end, as Dragonlordcat has to run away again with 1 HP. Phoenix around half himself, but so is JunglePhobic. Phoenix actually dashing in on top of the Kusunbo, getting the stun, going on top of the cloud as well with the Wukong, and now in the back it's actually Virtually, but great Fearless will grab him in the tower. Ragemaul getting the final kill over there. Nico not done yet, being a menace, actually jumping in on to the tail ult here, and Phoenix being quite low, having to use Oxfog, getting out, but Jaguar going back in. This tier 1 tower is still here, but will it be too much of a threat? No, I don't think it will. It's a 4v5 as the Virtually is still dead. Tower will fall down, and a lot of low health bars on both sides of the team, but I do think Kingslayers have a bit of an edge over here. Wayern is still full HP, being a menace behind this rock, trying to see if anyone steps up.
Kingslayers just making their presence felt. They get another kill onto Virtually. Alongside not having a great time, neither is Stanaway. Nearly gets caught out by Wyvern, but not able to land the knockup. Did have the ultimate available. Might have spelled the end of Terra's life. And this is kind of near the point. It's not really there yet. It was like 3 minutes, 4 minutes later in the last game that we saw a massive deicide by the Kingslayers. We saw them start to take fire giants, we saw them start to push towers, and they're in a very similar spot. The kills are much more even, they still have the lead. I'd argue they have the momentum. If you're Sunbreakers, this is where you have to break the monotony. If you did what you did last game, you are going to lose. You need to do something to kind of get out in front of what you know is coming.
And one of the things not to do is give up a gold fury for free again, as Kingslayers will get another objective, and that will be part of minions going as well. Stanaway being pulled back in by the Wheelix. Great knockup once again, but stuns all around the board, death from buff being used, and actually it will be Rare and Dragonlordcat who need to run away. Or Nico though, Nico definitely someone who doesn't need to run away. It's the tier with a speed buff using Fearless. Hey, nothing more in this game than I love than a tier with a little bit of movement speed. What a menace that is, Fisher.
Tier with movement speed, anybody with movement speed gonna be scarier. But like you said, one of the characters that does it better than most. Wheelix has some as well. In that Serrated Blade, this Kingslayer's dive has already proved really hard to deal with for the Sunbreakers, and it's gonna get a lot more difficult before it gets better. Kingslayers once again taking the aggressive positioning, and I think we mentioned it off the back of that Gold Fury that the Kingslayers took a minute ago. They have not dropped an objective yet this game. And I don't think they're gonna anytime soon.
I don't think so as well. We're 23 minutes in. We're only 7 minutes away from when the end call was made in last game. Admittedly, kill-wise, we're a lot closer than we were at this point in game 1. So Sunbreakers did change up something for the better, but is it going to be enough? Because I still favor Kingslayers here a lot. I mean, what is that? Like a 6k, 5k gold lead? I mean, the XP lead is very much there as well. And at this point, we're only 25 minutes in. No one from Sunbreakers has hit level 20 yet. Admittedly, no one in the game has hit level 20 yet, which is a bit surprising at this point. But hey, those level leads still matter quite a bit.
Does. Now Beacon gonna get started, and we talk a lot about Kingslayers being ahead. Important to note, Sunbreakers in a much better spot than they were last game, and it's a Fire Giant sneak call. If this works, that could be a game changer, but they're gonna have to live in the mid lane first. Beacon gonna go to Kingslayers easy.
Darknms going up into the death from above, but no can do. ST is still on top of you. Fire Giant around half HP though. It's still the jungler and the ADC on top of that. But oh no, Kuzenbo spotted it out. Oh no, please don't tell me. It will be Sunbreakers who get it, but at what cost? Virtually already fell down. That's still 4 people with Fire Giant. Oh, it's gonna be 3, because NoboFish surely falls down here towards the Helix indeed. But, I mean, the big thing is, that means Kingslayers can't do it for another 5 minutes. That's a great call if you, in my book. I thought it wasn't going to work out, and it got very scary there in the end, as Kuzenbo with the Watery Grave was coming over, but not in time. They just barely didn't spot it in time, and Sunbreaker sneaking that away might give him a lifeline for a few more minutes.
That's got to be one of my favorite play calls in a while. The only bad thing with it, because I agree, getting that off the board for 5 minutes, great. Having it on 3 people, even better. But it's a 5-on-3 now. I mean, virtually just now going to respawn, but we saw the tier 2 in right. Might see it in mid. Honestly, if I'm Kingslayers, you're about to go into a full team, sprint over to left, get that Titan pushing down. I think we said it last game, and it was one of my only points in frustration with the way they played it. Those Titans do so much damage. They're so difficult to deal with, and we just don't see teams prioritizing them. Oh, and they leave the Pyrobomb too? Oh my gosh. Okay, Tier got it.
Tier is going to grab it up. AnthonyMalum can sleep another day. The Pyromancer bomb did get picked up, luckily. And now, with these Titans hitting each other, and Chaos Titan, of course, going to win this, because it is Chaos Titan, the teams are finally showing up as well, so they might want to fight over this, but it seems like they prioritize fighting each other over this Titan first, at least a little bit. There's actually Sunbreakers who are focusing way more on killing this Titan. They still got their solo laner, their support, and the mid laner with Fire Giant, of course, for a little bit longer. I believe 1 more minute, since it's 3 more minutes until it spawns.
2 more minutes, I think.
2 more minutes, it could be.
Yeah.
With a Titan there, that could definitely be at least a tower push, but doesn't seem like they will be going for it. Instead, taking the Primal Fury, making it easier to get objectives in the future. Not a bad call as well, but oh, Wern actually stole the the Gold Fury there. I'm all over today. What a steal that is. I'm so lost for words that it actually happened, that I even confused all the objectives together, but great steal by the Helix. MVP in my book.
Sunbreakers can't catch a break. I like the call to go for Primal Fury. I think that was the right play call. They maybe could have grouped up on left and got a tier 2 tower. I don't know how hard Kingslayers would have defended that. But pulling off for the Fury was a great move. Just unfortunate. I don't think I've ever seen an Helix steal away an objective like that. That was Impressive timing there from Wyvern. Gonna keep his team ahead. Uh-oh, looking for a pick, though. The only one here.
Ooh, got stunned out at the perfect time. So Wyvern couldn't use his ultimate on the knockup he did find on Darknms. He's gonna count his lucky stars and thank what I do believe was his ADC for that mesmerize. As now NoboFish is in a lot of trouble. Watergrave in the tower, and now Fearless right after it. Oh, it's so annoying to deal with all that CC. It must be, as the tower already falling down, trying to hit the bird a little bit, but nothing major as of right now. Trying to go for poke first. I mean, Dragonlordcat just hitting abilities over the wall. Phoenix being very low as well onto the left lane here, but hey, Ragemore had to back, so probably no Phoenix Siege anytime soon. Virtually going in deep. I do believe he was forced to use the beats. Yes, he was. So that's gonna be a bit tough. But now it's actually Sunbreakers pressing W again, and I'm not sure if they want to do that right now.
Phoenix and Ragemore were battling it out, but now virtually on the forefoot against JunglePhobic. Good stun by DLC, but a massive two-man ult by Nobo. Are they gonna keep chasing?
Look at Tyr. Tyr coming from behind, ultimate coming in, and now NoboFish in a lot of trouble. Fearless coming out and will not confirm the kill onto NoboFish for as of right now, but in the end will fall down towards the Awelix, and it's actually Darknms in a lot of trouble now as well. Another great Fearless, might I add, by Nico. Knock up as well onto Stanaway in the back. Dragonlordcat gets an own kill on their own onto Phoenix, as now Stanaway will finally fall down towards another great Fearless. Double kill for the Tyr and double kill for the Awelix as well. It's a deicide, and surely this might be a quick 2-0, will not Fisher?
I think it has to be. They have a full HP ADC, 2/3 health support, and they should go for it. This should be the game.
It seems like the call. They got 15 more seconds before anyone spawns. This Titan is burning down. That will be game 2 for you as the Fire Giant spawns in the back. The Titan will fall down. GG. 2-0 for the Kingslayers. Well played by them. A well-respected 2-0 victory by the Kingslayers. Must feel rough if you are Sunbreakers, but hey, you can't help it. The Kingslayers looking absolutely mental today, playing the best of their Smite I have seen so far this season, probably. Great plays all across the board. I mean, I must give it towards the backline here, right? I mean, Nico with these Fearlesses being an absolute menace, and Kuzenbo just constantly CCing people. I mean, with his cooldowns also being reduced whenever he gets hit with his reflect shells, he can dash people even more. And then for the damage, you still got Dragonlordcat just throwing out bombs. You got Wyvern just confirming kills left and right, and Ragemore just throwing out damage and making sure to press full so no one can see anything. So yeah, just all across the board, well played by the Kingslayers, but you can't count out the Sunbreakers. Yes, I mean, virtually had a bit of a stinker in game 2. A bit rough to go 1-8, but I think looking towards next week, definitely don't count him out at all.
Absolutely not, and especially when you compare game 1 to game 2, you said it yourself, it kind of felt a bit like a stomp in game 1, but in game 2, I'd argue they had a much better game. They were more competitive throughout the mid game. Sure, the late game didn't go their way, but seeing that growth game after game, seeing them not afraid to go back to the same strats, I mean, call it whatever you want. I like seeing that from teams, and I think it's a good marker of things to come. And I can't forget Ragemore, top damage both games. It feels like we didn't talk about them a ton in game, but incredible job from the ADC there from Kingslayers, really propelling his team towards a win.
Yeah, as well as the 5.5 thousand structure damage is nothing to scoff away at. I mean, those birds gotta fall down somehow. So yeah, even though I didn't say your name too much, Ragemore, well played, brother. Anyways, this has been this set for you. I've been Jeffrey. I'm here together with KingFsher, and also thank you so much, iNooblet, for being our observer as of right now. And we'll see you next time.